was a woman going door to door asking all the kids in my neighborhood to take a survey. $50 if you can believe it. And all you had to do was fill out a form. She asked me how old I was, where I was born, what my parents did for a living, all things I was then. The topic changed quickly, and soon she started to ask what I knew about Special K, Oxy, Pacalolo. The valley had just become a valley to really itself was something we were finding out. It claimed more than anyone knew, more than anyone could know. I was probably 12. What did I care about this shit anyway? Just give me the $50 and move along. 5 minutes later, she did. Even in high school, it was more about me than anything else. A neighbor up the road gave me rides to school in his Hamajang red Integra, a W2 making the trunk rattle as we swerved in and out of traffic on days we were late, trying to make it in 5 minutes flat when we cut out of class anyway. He would smoke occasionally, never heavy, while I shot Southern Comfort in the back roads of the Kahuna Hollow. Weed was weed. He could get high and still laugh at chronics like our friend Mike, telling us about seeing the world in a different color while he loaded himself with painkillers from his mother's medicine cabinet right outside the gas station where he worked. A few years later, I started to hear things. The breeze that sweeps through the ko'olaus carries with it whispers that no one dares discuss, but I finally began to put together. It still wasn't your son, your daughter, it was theirs. It was the neighbor who paces back and forth in his house, yelling at the birds, keeps locked away in cages so filthy the smell spills out into the street. It was the guy from high school. You know the one, good guy, played football, real Akamai. For real, you sure, who can be? And when you saw him that first time, even if he looked the same, you saw him in the light of 1,000 stories, countless news breaks and special editions, his picture in the same paper that lined the cages, shitted on daily, and suddenly no one wants to knock on his door and ask him even once where he's from and what his parents did for a living. When the news van pulls up, they don't ask if everything is all right, how he got this way, who he was before. ICE in capital letters, pictures of termite-ridden homes and carports overgrown with weeds. A toothless male in the background now like a long moose afraid of the rats behind the lens. The same rats that took the valley so many years ago and that have now come with their cameras to report what development has done. He says nothing to the reporter, looks as if in mourning, afraid to speak about this thing that has taken not just sons and daughters, mothers and fathers, children stillborn, their blood, a clear mix of generations of culture, of himself. Growing up in Kahalu for me was about the lurid rains that ran through her valleys and fed the rivers I'd catch crayfish in as a child. It was about walking with my friends down to the bus stop and catching the 65 to Temple Valley, and then down to the pier where my father would be pulling in with whatever he did or didn't catch. But the same rains that find their way to the ocean bring with them a deeper sense of something that has long since been polluted by tar and concrete. The chronics in the paper are not names, we've just forgotten their names, unable to remember on shores now eroded with time. Nowadays, these same shores, once viable, once vital like the Ahupua, in which they are documented with single-word captions and images of mongoose scurrying for the shade. I was too young then to understand, or maybe I was just too ignorant to see that what Mike was doing was waiting to die beside those pumps. The Integra that I rode in smelled sticky sweet, and even though I hadn't taken a single hit, I might as well have taken the lighter and lit it for him. Others too shamed to admit what once was, now pray for what is, and what is yet to be. Growing up in Kahalu for me, for many, was never about ice. So when the woman with her degree and her $50 asked me what I knew about math, what was I supposed to say? 5 minutes later, she too would be gone. Thank you.